It's only in my mind that I'm talking to myself and not to him. And although I know that he is right, still I say there's a way for us. I love him when the night.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to episode 8 of Friday Night Flashbacks. Woo! I can't believe we've done, or we're about to do 8 of these. This is insane. This is a different one, folks. This time, this is basically a flashback about living in a virtual world, and we're basically flashing back in theater and show folk for the last 4 months. Stay-at-home orders, quarantine, and what creative people have done. Creative people who have worked for us in the past have done with their time at home. And there's been some amazing products that have come out, but a couple of them have come out basically for Actors Playhouse and to help Actors Playhouse. And one of my favorite actresses from, I haven't worked with her in a long time, but boy, I've known her for a long time. She's like a second daughter to me. And I'd like to bring on to the screen right now from the waiting room, Gwen Hollander. Gwen, there you
Hi,
are.
Dave.
So good to see you.
Good to see you too.
I was just telling people that you and I have known each other a long time, and
It's
you
been a
know,
long time.
so just talk a little bit because we go all the way back to Kendall when you first started with Actors Playhouse.
Yes. Yeah, I was a kid. So I started, it was, I think, the last year or so of Kendall when I was taking class, and I did one Christmas Carol in Kendall, and then I was along for the ride when we moved to Coral Gables.
Coral Gables, yeah.
Yep.
And then you did. You worked with us from The Mistress and Evita to what was it? Spelling Bee.
Spelling Bee, yeah. So I
yeah.
think 8 shows total.
You're
Yeah.
amazing. You're amazing. And
You're amazing.
You've been back with my family and everything for so long, and you're so wonderful. So talk about the fact that you got yourself involved in this virtual aspect of doing theater online or doing song online.
So it was kind of an accident. The lockdown began and I was like, this is a perfect opportunity. I just was like, how can we stay creative during this time? And I know it was instantly very hard for people, but I found that I've been more creative during this time than I think I've ever been, just because there hasn't been that pressing feeling that there's something I'm supposed to be doing. Right. So I suddenly felt free to do something that I wanted to do. And I was like, I'm just going to make a silly thing. And I decided to rewrite the lyrics to some songs from Avenue Q. And I asked a couple of friends, because I did Avenue Q, my husband was in Avenue Q, and we have a bunch of friends that were in Q, and we have a bunch of puppets. And I was like, I know, I'll rewrite it. It'll be Avenue Quarantine. And we started putting it together all separately, all on our phones. And then I was just going to throw it together, and it was going to be a silly Instagram video. And it turned into 10 videos, and it ended up having like all of these guest stars from all over the country. And I taught myself how to edit. I had never edited like that before. And by the end of it, I was like using green screen and slicing in, I was cutting things, I'm using Photoshop. And so now I have a skill.
You do have a skill, because when we did the At Home with Actors Playhouse series, folks, we had about 25 actors or so who sent some lovely videos, testimonials, and songs. And Gwen got creative, and she decided that she was going to contact an old friend of hers from the other coast, because you're out in California right now, and Tally's in New York. So right now, if we can bring Tally Sessions in, I believe Tally's in the waiting room, and you got together with Tally. Hey, Tally, how you doing?
Hey.
Hey, Gwen.
How you doing?
I'm great. How are you guys?
We're good. We're good. So for those of you who've been following Actors Plus for a long time, you know that Tally, we was on a couple weeks ago, and we talked about his career here. But Tally and Gwen go back to Beauty and the Beast, right? Was the first one you did together that you played opposite? Mm-hmm. And then a handful of years later, they played opposite each other again in Urinetown. And so it was pretty exciting. I don't think I've had anybody else who's played, and I could be wrong. Somebody text me and remind me. But but I don't think I've had 2 people who have played opposing leads, opposite leads in 2 shows.
Really?
Yeah, I don't think I have.
That's interesting.
Oh,
Yeah, so you guys always come to mind. Plus, there were all those years when you were both back and forth, back and forth, back and forth doing shows.
Yeah.
So how did Gwen reach out to you, Tally, about this At Home with Actors Playhouse video, the You're in Town one?
Well, if I remember correctly, and Gwen, correct me if I'm wrong, she just reached out and she said, I don't know if you've done anything yet, but I thought this would be a great idea to do a duet from You're in Town. And she set it all up. It was all her incredible idea and her artistry and her technological wizardry, because I can't do any of that stuff. So she set it up, and she, if I'm not mistaken, Gwen, you had the track, you recorded your thing, I think, and then I sang to her, but then she did all the editing. I sent her a couple of clips, like a couple of takes, and I don't even know.
We're gonna take a look at that right now, folks, because Gwen, you did a great job. And,
thank you.
And we're just going to show a little piece of it, the special editing portion of a scene song from You're in Town with Gwen Hollander and Tally Sessions. Let's take a look.
I definitely heard something.
Well, what was it?
Well, let me try again. Maybe I can make it out this time. Oh, there it is! Oh, it's so faint. It's saying, follow into the open air, far from squalor and noise. Follow, someone is waiting there. Someone who shares all your hopes and your joys. Someone is waiting there. Why, my heart was saying those exact words just the other day.
It was?
Oh, sure it was. Squalor and noise, hopes and joys. Why, it was telling me about all those things.
I didn't know two hearts could speak as one.
I didn't either. Until now. Oh, here. Listen.
Someday I'll meet someone whose heart joins with mine. Aortas and arteries all intertwined. They'll beat so much stronger than they could apart. 8 chambers of muscle to hustle the love in our heart.
Love is kind and considerate. Love is peaceful and fair. Love can bring us so suddenly. When you least think of it,
Your love is there. We all want a world filled with peace and with joy, with plenty of justice for each girl and boy. That bright shining world is just waiting to start. No anger or madness, just laughter and gladness. If only I follow your heart.
I love that. I love that. You guys, it was so amazing when I first saw that. And it came in and it came together so well. And you've always sounded so great together.
Oh, thank you.
Just lovely. So this is what folks are doing, like Gwen talked about the Avenue Q stuff. And well, let's introduce a special guest visitor today, okay? You both have worked with him in the past, both on Beauty and the Beast and You're in Town. And I think you guys probably played badly together too after the shows were over. And now you can probably guess who it is. My stepson, my son, whatever the hell you want to call him. Let's see if Sean Russell is in the waiting room.
Hey, Sean!
Honey.
Good, everybody.
Good.
Gwen, when is the last time I saw you?
Oh,
It's been
Me?
forever. Yeah.
It's 2011.
Yeah, that's
Too
insanity.
long. It's too
Yeah,
long.
too long. I was thinking about it while I was in the waiting room.
Sure, sure. That's a great time to think.
Yeah, it's the only time I think, actually.
Yeah.
We met when I was like 10, I think. So we're talking.
Yes.
Yeah, so Tally, you're gonna have to put up with this a little bit. But
8 years ago. Well, no, Tally and I have been fortunate to at least have some lunch, and I got to see him do a reading, a production of a show he was doing in the city. But I mean, I've known Tally now 17 years and Gwen for 28 years. I mean, it's
Oh God.
insane.
yeah, and you guys think that, and you guys are my kids. Okay,
Oh.
so now think about how old I feel because you are the begin. When I first started this theater, like in '88 with Barbara Stein, Larry Stein, obviously, and all those people kind of were my friends. And then we got to the 2000s, and there's this group of people that are my kids, and it started with you guys. And now the new ones, my God, they're like my grandkids. I mean, they're not that young, but it's like, it's insane. But Gwenny, folks, just so you know, Gwen and Sean went to a high school together, New World School of the Arts, and we used to carpool with their parents, and with her parents. And so we would be driving, and normally I was the 6 a.m. in the morning guy because I was busy in the afternoons. But sometimes I would drive in the afternoon, and we would have Drew, who was just in Mamma Mia at 27, and Drew would be in the car seat.
And he was, when I first was hanging with you guys, he was only roaring because he wanted to be Simba, I think. So he was an aspiring lion. And then I had my first ever Christmas, because I'm a Jew, and I spent my first ever Christmas with you guys. And I remember I was like, people get this many presents? I get 8.
No, it's not normal. My mom.
It's not. Drew
That was
got
not a normal Christmas. That was not a normal Christmas. And but didn't Drew also progress into another stage after the roaring stage?
Yes, that was part, because for Christmas it was all, I think 101 Dalmatians had just come out. So it was like big time Dalmatian era. And he had gotten a bunch of like Dalmatian paraphernalia. And at that point he decided he wanted to be a Dalmatian when he grew up. And we changed to barking.
Yeah, Tally, I don't know if you know this, but for a really long time, I don't know how great this is from I couldn't imagine watching ER with my daughter, but Drew and my mom would watch ER together. And for when he was really young, people would ask, like my mom would go, "Oh, ask Drew what he wants to be when he grows up," and he'd say an ER doctor, and it was like really impressive. And then all of a sudden, you asked him, like, "What do you want to be when you grow up?" And he'd be like, "A Dalmatian." So it was a big progression.
It's the natural progression, though.
Yeah, that's fair enough.
Yeah, he actually put on a preschool poster board that he wanted to be a Dalmatian when he grew up. Yeah, so
how has that worked out?
As people who just
There's
saw
still time.
Maybe anyway, so one of the we could do this all day, but Sean also is living in a virtual world, and so Sean has put together this beautiful video. I'm just going to show a little bit of it because it's not quite the quality of what Gwen has done. But let's take a peek, shall we?
I dreamed a dream I'd come outside, not quarantined, a life worth living. I dreamed I found some double ply, or something soft, watching Tiger King at night. When my daughter's finally sleeping, COVID-19 has killed the dream. I dream.
Oh, now, Coco.
Okay.
Oh,
That's
Sean.
Russell. Sean, you still got it, man.
I don't know.
The only reason I really wanted to show was so you could see my granddaughter Penny. Okay, at the very end. That's the cute
Yeah,
part.
she's definitely a prettier girl than I am. That's for sure.
I don't know.
Sean, what made you do that? What made you do that? You haven't performed in a long time.
Yeah, I mean, the last show I did was actually with Gwen. I think it was 2010, Les Mis. I don't remember exactly.
2009.
2009. Okay, so even longer. And every once in a while, I think it would be fun to like sing karaoke or do something, but I haven't really had the itch. But Gwen does all these really incredible parodies out in California that are really fun, and it made me think about like what could I do around COVID, because I mean obviously we were going crazy having to work all day from home and also raise a child and be a teacher and do everything else.
Now we also have to explain that Sean, in all fairness, was on Broadway when he was 11 years old in Les Mis. So this was a very talented young man who
Yes.
went to NYU and did all kinds of things, but has decided to move away from theater and other. Shawnee, what's the famous line you say about why you left the theater? Do you remember?
Do I have a line why I left the theater?
Well, my favorite line you always say is, "It's tough when you peak at 11."
Well,
So,
that's true. I mean, for a really long time, you get your like end of the year taxes back, and it was at 12 years old, I made more money than I did till I was in my mid 20s. So it wasn't very great. It's like, Tally,
have you done any? I mean, I know we talked about all the Broadway stuff you've done lately, but have you done any other virtual stuff other than the thing you did with Gwen?
Yeah, I mean, I've done several things that are, performance-based for theater companies, like Actors Playhouse, and some charities, and and I've done, some demos for people that have asked. It's all virtual. I mean, it's going to keep going. Yeah, it's going to keep going that way. But anyway, and Tally and Gwen have been two of my favorite people forever. So the fact that you're both here with me, I appreciate it. And we're going to say goodbye. We'll have one last little drink, and we're going to take a look at another video that Gwen put together with her friends from Avenue Q. Avenue Q. Do you call it Avenue Quarantine, the videos, or Avenue Quarantine?
It's more of a visual gag, and I don't really know so Avenue Quarantine, but it's more of a,
all right.
It works better when you look at it.
All right, so let's have one last toast. I love seeing you all.
Cheers.
All right,
you guys.
Thank you.
Bye-bye. I will be back, folks, with another group of artists talking about another virtual video. And you guys be wonderful. Love you all.
Love you.
Bye. Love you.
Everyone agrees that it's hard to abide.
No one likes the thought of being cooped up inside.
Take a breath, look around.
Take it in stride for now.
For now,
Nothing lasts,
life goes on
full of surprises.
We'll be faced with problems of all shapes and sizes.
We're going to have to make a few compromises for now. For now, but only for now. For now, only for now. For now, only for now. For now, only for now.
It's still amazing what these artists and creative people are trying to do during this time. And right now, we're going to bring in a whole group of people who were involved in our production of Next to Normal in 2012, and an incredible virtual video that they did. And everyone's coming in from the waiting room, and we've got Jody Langle, and we've got Eric Alsford, and we've got Mark Sanders.
Hey, everybody.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So shortly after the stay-at-home orders and the quarantine, whatever, I got a call from Jody about, wouldn't it be cool if we could do a virtual version of Light, which is the last song from Next to Normal. Next to Normal was the beautiful show we did.
I was brainstorming, and I was thinking, what is a song that I've done from a musical that is topical, that is relevant, that is poignant, something that I can think of that I think would affect a lot of people. And I was brainstorming, and I just thought of it, the song Light from Next to Normal. Oh my gosh, this song is perfect. And I was listening to the lyrics. I played it for my husband. I played it for my 10-year-old daughter. They said, oh my gosh, this song is amazing. And I know it's good because my 10-year-old put it on repeat. So if my 10-year-old who listens to TikTok and likes it, it's a good song. She starts singing it.
And so then did you reach out to Mark and Sarah? Is that what
I immediately texted Mark, who's been my buddy ever since we did Next to Normal, and Sarah, who I've been remained close with. And I said, guys, Light, we have to sing this. We have to make this happen. this is such a good song. It's so relevant. They both immediately texted me. It must have been like 10 o'clock at night. And I said, and Sarah's got a baby now. And Mark is doing concerts and he's all over the place. I said, guys, we have to do this. We have to do this. We have to present this. We have to show this idea to Dave. And I think I texted you, Dave.
Yeah.
And I said, Dave, we got to do this song. You're like, oh, that's cute.
Yeah, a great idea. A great idea.
Great idea, Jody. That'll be and I remember you said this, that'll be a fun little project for you, Jody. And I'm like, okay, Dave, all right.
And so it did end up being a fun project. And so Mark, you took the ball and you contacted.
I did, yeah, because I said we need to get everybody, you know, on board for this. And they're like, we don't have their phone numbers and things. How do I'm like, hang on, because I've been in touch with this cast because we were so close. So very, very close. And that was my first show at Actors Playhouse. And so I immediately texted everybody, you know, and everybody said, absolutely. And I got back and within, you know, I've been seeing stuff that Ben has been doing with the video editing and things like that. And he offered it before I even said anything. And he graciously took the ball and ran with it and said, I'll get a storyboard. Here you go. We all got emails. And said, you know, let's wear blue, let's do this, that, and the other thing. And he really took this and really edited it down together. And you got to said, you know, we don't remember our parts. It's been too long.
Well, we don't remember our parts, and so that's when Eric Alsford comes in, right, Eric? I
pulled out my old score and I just made recordings for each part or each line and emailed them to them to kind of refresh their memories after how many years has it been? What year was it?
8 years ago. Yeah, 8 years ago.
Yeah.
And how did you put together the music? I mean, I know you had the music, but you know that was an orchestrated score, and you just did it.
I had the score, so I just recorded the individual vocal lines on the piano, emailed to him. But Ben found a track, correct, Ben?
I think Mark found the track.
Mark found the track.
That's what it was. Okay, I never knew that part. So Ben Liebert, who actually has done one whole show here at Actors Playhouse. I met Ben because I was thinking of Jody for this role, and we're having fun here. But Next to Normal was a very serious project that we really, really took seriously, and it was a beautiful show. And I went to see Jody do a production at Maltz Jupiter because, you know, before I cast her, I wanted to see her performing. And in the cast of Joseph was this young man named Ben Liebert. And I went, wait a minute, who's this guy? And the next thing I knew, we were getting together and casting Ben to play the young boyfriend of the daughter in Next to Normal. And then Ben, who knew you had these editing skills? So talk to me about what you've been doing during this lockdown and quarantine.
Well, so like Mark was saying, I've done 2 projects with a friend of mine called Musicals from Home, where we take shows and we chop them all up into little pieces. And the first project, I think we had about 60 different people from all over the country just record their own videos and send them to us, and then I edited it all together. The second one, we had over 100. And the second one had, you know, 4 or 5 big music videos, kind of like light when you'll actually see it, you know. So, and the nice thing about this one was that, you know, I sent, like Mark said, I sent that big old email to everyone saying, okay, so this is how you want to frame the shot. This is where you want to be looking. I think this is where, you know, Eric and I worked on like a cutoff track so people could be listening. But so the amazing part about that is that we all worked together and we all had that energy together, right? But doing this separately, it was important, I think, just for the overall, you know, for what we were trying to do, that we all still were singing together and telling the same story and spreading the story.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing work, folks, when you see it. And Eric, is someone practicing music behind you, or?
I am in gorgeous Aspen, and yes, there's music going on here. So.
I know. All of a sudden, I go, wait a minute. There's a band playing or something in the background, you know.
But Ben, did you add a click to it too when they recorded their parts?
I did. So the nice thing about that track that we got, which Mark it was like gorgeous. Sometimes tracks you find, they sound awful. They sound like, you know, 1980s karaoke.
Right. Yeah.
Great. But I added a click track. So everyone, when I got everyone's recordings, I basically got a cappella, right? Because they had the music in their ears and they had the click and telling them when to cut off and start singing and crescendo and all these things. So we'd all do the same things. And then I would take everyone's a cappella vocal, put that into one program to mix it down, to make sure our entrances, and I was zhuzhing and making sure it all tuned up right. And then in the video, I was cutting it all together and making it interesting. Because what I saw,
making it work for the lyrics too. It was amazing, and we also have to mention obviously Sarah Manuel and Eddie Rios, who were in the show and also
Nick.
the video,
And Nick Duckert.
Oh my God, Nick Duckert! Oh my God, I forgot Nick. Nick, I'm sorry.
Usnavi.
Usnavi, and
right.
You all remember Nick Duckert. He's done a bunch of shows here before. He's well, so many. I mean, and
great.
And Mark and Jody, obviously, you recognize from just being in Mamma Mia, which is the last show we produced before we got shut down. We were in rehearsals for Camelot. But Next to Normal was a very special show. I mean, obviously the lyrics had to do with a bipolar disorder woman and her husband and family trying to deal, and friends trying to deal with it, and psychiatrist. And so we actually got involved with the Miller School of Medicine. You guys remember that? How we were doing those pre-show?
Before, like 15 minutes before or so, they would be meeting out in the house, or half an hour.
It started that we were meeting in the house, and then one night we invited the woman from the Miller School of Medicine to speak, and we had to go into the balcony theater. There were so many people.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
And it was unbelievable how many people came. You hate to say come out of the closet, but came out of the closet to talk about family health and sickness in their families, and were raising their hands and saying, my son, my daughter, my wife, my this, my that. And it was just like eye-opening how many people deal with mental health issues.
Yeah.
Well, it's so rare that you're working on a show that was such a specific thing to do a community outreach for. So it was just a perfect example of being able to do that.
Yeah, we had people coming from Boca and North, from your coast, from Fort Myers and Naples, because the show did not tour. And so it had been a hit in New York, but a lot of people didn't have a chance to see it. And so when they heard it was in South Florida, they came to see it. And Eric had done a bunch of shows. But Eric, I think you brought me Jody.
Funny enough, I was filling in as a rehearsal pianist on that Joseph. So that's how I got to know Jody. And I think Ben, had you and I done Full Monty by then?
No, Full Monty was after.
Oh, so Ben was new to me, but I remember playing for you and meeting you at the Joseph. So yeah, it all came about because of that Joseph production with Ben and Jody.
Yeah, and I know. And Eric, what's the first? Geez, did we work together in Kendall, or did we start here at the Miracle Theater?
No, my first show there with you was Floyd Collins.
So your first show was Tally's first show, Floyd Collins, 2003. Okay.
Because Tally and I were doing Phantom at the Hollywood Playhouse, and I brought him down to audition for you because I was
Eric Osford,
this is your Floyd.
Is responsible for bringing me Mark Sanders, Jody Langle, and Tally Sessions.
I need to be hired as like a casting director for Actors Playhouse.
Exactly.
At least my assistant casting director, Jody. And just before we go, obviously you were playing the leading role, and just and I know it meant the world to you, and just your feelings before we move on and watch the video and say goodbye.
I think it was so fulfilling for me because throughout my career, I've always done these mega blockbuster musicals, and I went to school. I returned to school for acting. So for me, it was so fulfilling because I finally got the two meshed. I finally got to do a role where I could sink my teeth into as an actress.
Right.
And it was so just vulnerable and exposed. And I was also personally going through like a very personally vulnerable time in my marriage. And the cast was so openly just like supportive of me going through that, and also just playing such a vulnerable role. The cast was just so wonderful. And I just felt like I could be nakedly vulnerable and they would support anything.
This is what creative people do, right? When they don't have an outlet, they get creative and they figure out ways to do it. So I love you all, okay? And I can't thank you enough. And we'll have one last toast to Friday Night Flashbacks.
Cheers. Thank you, Dave.
We love you, Dave.
Thank you, Dave.
And
good to see you all.
And listen to the lyrics and watch the work that Ben and Eric and all these people did. And this is Light from Next to Normal. And I'll be back after that. Bye, guys.
Day after day, give me clouds and rain.
still we pay. We love anyway.
And when the night has finally gone, and when we see the new day dawn, we'll wonder how we wandered for so long, so blind. The wasted world we thought we knew, the light will make it look brand new. So let it shine, shine, shine. Day after day, find a way to find our way, knowing that the darkest skies will someday see the sun. When our long night is done, there will be light. There will be light. When we open up our eyes, sons and daughters, husbands, wives, and fight that fight. There will be light. There will be light. There will be light. There will be light.
It's just beautiful and one of the best edited things I've seen, and great vocals and great talent, and that's our Actors Playhouse people. And so I just want to remind you that we're going to continue with Friday Night Flashbacks. This was a little bit of a diversion this week with virtual theater and what creative people are doing. But, you know, we're still waiting on word from government, waiting on word from the Actors Union on when we can get back to work again. So just once again, you know, we could use your help. And so we have that text where you text in the number 243725, and then when the text field comes up, you type in GIVEAP, give AP, and a link comes up, and you donate. And this week I'm going to say, listen, if every one of you who watches this during the course of an entire week were just to go to this text, give AP, and just give $25, we had 2,000 hits for Ragtime 2 weeks ago. So just think about how much you could help the theater with just such a small donation. And just think about how you know, less than what you paid for 2 of you to come and see one of our shows. So I love you all, and I thank you for watching. And I thank all these incredible artists who've been doing this with me, and this incredible virtual work that's being done all over the country, and especially for Actors Playhouse. And I hope you have a great night, and thanks for tuning in. Bye-bye.
Day after day, wishing all our cares away, trying to fight the things we feel, but some hurts never heal. Some